We have JLuv81 in the house. Has an awesome retro gaming related YouTube channel. So let me ask you, let's go back to the beginning. What is your first memory ever in your life playing a video game?
The NES. My first memory is the NES Super Mario Brothers. That was my first game ever. My parents got me the Nintendo Entertainment System that came with Rob the Robot. So it had Gyromite, I believe Popeye, Duck Hunt, and Super Mario Brothers. So those were my first games. And I remember like yesterday, I want to say I was about 5 years old. Because I was born in 81, and you figured the NES, I believe, came out in 85. So
right.
It was like something like that. I think I got it in 86. And that, I was addicted since. I have been a gamer ever since, and my parents just kept buying me NES games. That's all I wanted. And I never had a Sega until I was an adult. So it was all strictly Nintendo. The only thing I dabbled in when I was a little bit older was PlayStation.
Now, was it the action set, the silver and orange zapper?
No, it was a silver zapper. That's the first gun I had, the light gun. And the set literally came with Rob the Robot, the whole entire box.
Oh, right,
so I still have my childhood Rob the Robot because he played Gyromite with you. And I don't know, I thought it was the coolest thing as a kid. Now, if you try that, I have no patience to wait for his slow self to push the buttons. You just stare at him like, really? You know?
No, for
It'll
sure.
It'll be you, Crystal. I'm going to slap you.
I feel like that was the it seemed like more people had the action sets. So that was pretty cool. You had the Rob the Robot with the Gyromite. I feel like that one was less purchased or something.
I think it was because my brother is 8 years older than me and my sister's 8 years younger than me. So it was kind of like me growing up by myself. We lived in separate houses. My brother and I have different moms. So I pretty much was alone a lot as a kid. And I think my parents thought that was awesome. They probably looked at it were like, look at this robot could play games. I think that's exactly what happened, not realizing, how Rob the Robot actually functioned. And unfortunately, he really didn't have too many games to interact with. I think he had, 2? And I didn't even have the other one at all. Stack 'em? I did not have that one. So I had more fun playing solo, honestly, than I did with him. But the Gyromite game, if I were to pop it in now, the soundtrack to it, it just brings me back immediately.
By the way, that is an impressive Pixel Pals collection. I think that's the most I've ever seen somebody have.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love them. I'm not a pop figure collector, really. I have 2 of them that I've yet to show, but Pixel Pals, what I like about them is it has that 8-bit look. And on top of that, they light up, which makes it look even cooler. I don't know why they did not take off like I thought they would, believe it or not. So you don't really find them as often as you used to. But I just really, really, really thought they looked cool. I have that weakness for 8-bit looking figures.
I wish they'd put out one for River City Ransom for the 2 characters.
They really should. I wish they would have put out a lot. You know what I mean? Like I said, it didn't take off like it should have. There's so many characters that, they could have dabbled with and they just never got a chance. I don't even think they finished the Ninja Turtle set because they have the Ninja Turtle set, but all they have is a Foot Soldier, Raphael, Leonardo, and Shredder. That's pretty much it. So there is no Michelangelo or Donatello yet, which I think is really weird because I was waiting on those and it just never came to. I don't know why.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know why it didn't do better either. I've seen them at GameStop. They're always on sale. They're clearing models.
Oh, I think I've seen Ren and Stimpy. I've yet to pick it up, but they're on sale. They're on clearance, I think, for $6, which is a steal.
Right.
So if I see them, I'm definitely picking them up.
And, when I'm looking at your collection, one of the things that stands out is how how big your NES collection is because oh wow, and I'm looking at now at your PVC little vinyl Super Mario characters. I have like 4 of those. I didn't even know you have like the full set. That's also impressive. The
Yes,
80s one.
all of them, every single one of them is from my childhood since I was a little kid, except for the one that with the fireball and
Yeah.
Mario sitting on a turtle shell. I actually got the turtle shell from Too Many Games. And the fireball one I ordered from eBay. Everything else was strictly my childhood. Everything, including you see that they have the Mike Tyson's Punch Out, the Link single one of them I got when I was about maybe 8 years old. As soon as they
Yeah,
came
that is
out in
awesome.
1989.
You can get the Smurfs in there. You got the what do they call them? Snorks, the ones
The
with
Snorks,
the
yeah. I used to watch that. Like I'm a very big 80s fan. So
right,
I not only am I a gamer, I really enjoy retro collecting. So anything I had from my childhood, I tried to keep a lot of it. I moved a lot, so believe it or not, I lost a lot of stuff too along the way. And the things that I remember, I actually am slowly getting back, which is part of the retro collecting. I just love toys back then. I think we had like the best cartoons, the best movies, the best music. So taking it back to those times made me really happy. So I like getting toys from then or games or, anything. It just like brings me back. I really, really enjoy it. And I like to see people's reactions too, because whether you do a video, a pickups video, or someone actually comes to my game room, they'll see something and be like, oh my God, I remember that. Wow. Like
right.
just the joy it brings, taking somebody back makes me really happy.
And I like that you showed that Jim Henson picture with the turtles because he was really the mastermind of the live action puppetry in Hollywood movies at that time.
Oh, absolutely. That was the best looking turtles. As far as the movies, the first and second one, and that's all due to Jim Henson. He was just incredible, and I was a really big Jim Henson fan. I love Fraggle Rock, loved it. Like I was obsessed with it as a kid. Anything he was involved with, the Muppets. He pretty much did everything. Sesame Street, I was a big part of. That was my childhood. I always watched Sesame Street. The movie The Labyrinth, like anything he was involved in was just incredible. So when they changed the look of the turtles, I'm not gonna lie, I did not like that. I did not like that. So yeah, I definitely pay tribute to Jim Henson. He was awesome.
Yeah, and I don't think there's never been anybody quite like him. I mean, the closest maybe there has been to somebody like him would maybe be like Tim Burton or something, but different styles. But I just mean it's somebody that's so kind of out there and creative. There hasn't really been another person like him.
Yes,
That's
you're
come along.
absolutely right. And the thing too is like now, I think because now a lot of people use CGI versus
Right.
puppets. You know what I mean? So I personally I think that it's more realistic using those puppets than I do CGI. But that could be the old school in me. You know what I mean? I mean, other people may feel differently, which is cool. But I don't know, something about the way the puppets look. They look like they were alive. Kind of like how you ever seen Short Circuit #5? Like you swear that robot was actually alive. It was just amazing.
Yeah, it's true. And if you think about some of like the early 2000s movies, that especially that CGI that CGI in the beginning has aged really bad. Yet a lot of the 80s, 90s, the movies with puppetry and live props, they've all aged amazing. They still look great.
Yep, I 100% agree. I really do. I mean, it's kind of like how video games are. Back in, I would say 8-bit and 16-bit, to me, still looks impressive. And it aged, it like, for example, the N64 and the PlayStation 1, as much as we thought back in the day how realistic things looked during that time, you play it now because you're so used to the technology that we have, and you're kind of like, this kind of looks crappy.
Yeah,
But yet you go back to Super Nintendo and you're like, this still looks good. It's weird that it's like that.
No, it's true, because it's all like cubes and blocks. Everything looks like Virtual Fighter. You know, it looks kind of like all blocky.
Yep, all blocky, and you have the triangles, and yeah, it's hard to look at now. I crack up at it, but I still enjoy it. I still like to play those games, but the looks of it, like, this is what I mean when people say it didn't age well, is because of that reason. You look at somebody like that's supposed to look human, and you're like, man, they look jacked up. It's scary looking. But then if you bring yourself back to when you first played, you're like, wow, that is amazing. They did such a good job.
It's like there's no detail there either. And like when you go to N64 and PS1, like you look at the background, and it's just like literally like one color on stuff. Like that's when you look at like modern stuff. I mean, there's so much detail even in like trees or mountains, and you'll look at like the trees or mountains in like an N64 game. And I know it's limited by the technology, so it's not fair. But you just look at it and you're just like, ugh, that looks just so meh.
We're so spoiled by high definition. You know, I think that when you go back to that and you see, like, you know, when you like walk through like in Mario 64 and you see how choppy everything is, and you're like, man, it's so funny.
It almost looks like unfinished now, looking back at them. When it didn't then. It looks like unfinished games.
Oh, absolutely. It definitely does. And I mean, like I said, for its time, it was fantastic. Now trying to go back to it, I enjoy it because of nostalgia, but looking at it, it's not as impressive as Super Nintendo or Genesis or even the NES. The NES still, to me, like now, when you could play it in high definition if you choose to, or if you want to play it, you know, on the old school TVs, it still looks good, in my personal opinion. But like I said, it could be age, you know. I guess somebody here I see asked if I like modern games. Yes, I do play modern games, buddy. I definitely do. But I am more of a retro gamer, and that's because of time. I have more time playing shorter games than I do playing The Last of Us 2. I haven't even played that yet, and I really enjoyed the first one. But because of how long the game is, I don't want to get into something that I'm probably not going to have time to play with right now, you know?
And there's something about the NES, the music and the chip tunes.
Absolutely.
Like, you put on like Mega Man 2, every level is just like those banger songs. And
Mega Man 2 has an amazing soundtrack. Amazing. Just like the original Legend of Zelda. I mean, you show appreciation. There's so many good soundtracks. Batman on the NES, you know, as an example, just so many. And something about it, the 8-bit sound, I don't know, it just brings me back. It makes me happy. I really, really like it.
And even like the NES controller, it's like some would say, yeah, it's not the most comfortable after a couple hours, but there's something about it that is just perfect though, in its simplicity. The 2 buttons, select and start, in the D-pad, it's kind of all you need. It's like it's just enough.
Well, you know, I feel like that controller, it pretty much, you know, was the example of future controllers. It was started with the NES controller. That was a fantastic controller. And I love the look of it. I like it because it looks 80s. It has that retro look just like the NES does. It has like, you know, like they made it look like a VCR type thing. So it brings me back to see something like that. I'm comfortable with it because I'm used to it. But if you're not used to it, they do have the dog bone controller. I enjoy using that as well. And then the next best controller, perfection to me, is the Super Nintendo controller. That controller was fantastic. I gotta say that's my favorite controller as of right now. I mean, PlayStation did a really good job with their controllers. I'm very comfortable using it, but yeah, Super Nintendo, totally awesome. Like they got it right with the, you know, when you hold it, it's rounded, so it's more comfortable.
No, definitely. And the shoulder buttons.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Oh yeah, they were awesome. I remember using it on F-Zero because if you press the shoulder buttons, it kind of leans the car when you turn.
right.
And on that for its time, I thought that game looked fantastic.
And there was something about, I can just remember Super Nintendo coming out, and F-Zero was one of the first releases, and it looked so ahead of its time. The colors in it, just that the futuristic look, kind of like you're just, because there was no wheels, right? You just feel like you're flying. The speed on that game, the sense of
Oh my
speed.
goodness, they had like mode 7. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. For its time, it was just amazing. It blew me away. It was so colorful. I don't know. I really favored the Super Nintendo, although, like I said, I'm starting to get into Genesis collecting now. They really had good games that I wish I had as a kid. But, because of the nostalgia reasons, I'm always going to favor Nintendo.
Right, for sure. And they just had so many licenses that you couldn't do on the Genesis. And
Right.
on the Genesis side, they just got so many of those arcade ports. That was kind of the advantage that the Genesis had, is that same technology they're using in the Sega games in the arcade, they were able to do like a direct port and just do it spot on for the home console in the Genesis.
Right. And
Yeah,
I don't know, for some reason, I feel like the Super Nintendo had better sound chip, better music, in my opinion, than the Genesis. Genesis was very like fast paced, like kind of like mature console. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for
I guess if you want to call it that. Super Nintendo's just more lax, I think. They also had a lot of RPGs. I was never into RPGs, believe it or not, at all. I still am not.
Right.
I think the closest to RPG will be Paper Mario, like the series, or Mario RPG. That's it. But to each his own. I'm not knocking it, but hey, everybody's different. I have like an attention span the size of a flea. So if it's a lot of reading in it, yeah, I can't.
The Super Nintendo was able to do, soundtrack-wise, these kind of lush orchestration type of music, like it's very soft keyboard sounding. It was able to do stuff that the Genesis definitely couldn't, in terms of just making it sound like this lush orchestra and like warm synth pads and all that kind of stuff that the Genesis wasn't able to do. So I know what you mean. Like you just put on like Super Castlevania, and it's just crazy. Like there's no way you could get that like on Genesis. That what's going on?
No, not at all. No, I totally understand where you're coming from with that. It's just a total different sound. I'm not knocking it, but I really feel that not only does Super Nintendo have a better controller, but definitely better sound chip. And I don't know. I think the games, it depended on the game. I can't say they necessarily look better because I would argue that Aladdin on Genesis looked better. You know what I mean? As much as Aladdin was fun on the Super Nintendo. So I guess it depended on the game as far as looks.
And it's like, and what I was saying about the arcade ports on Genesis, that's what really shined, because when they had Golden Axe in the arcade, it's a Sega game. So they were able to take that, and you had a direct port. So if you played Golden Axe on the Genesis, you were almost getting the entire full arcade experience of how that game looked and sounded, because it was the same developer, and just like Strider. So that was like the one up to me. Nintendo had the better licenses, but Sega had the better arcade ports.
Probably that's why Mortal Kombat was better on the Genesis.
Right. And somebody could say, yeah, but what about Turtles in Time? Well, yeah, they got the better port on Super Nintendo, but you still had Hyperstone Heist on Genesis.
Yeah, I think a lot of people fail to remember that. And I personally think that's a lot of fun. Yes, I do believe I grew up with Turtles in Time. And it obviously has more levels and stuff like that. It's a better game. Everybody knows that. But, you know, considering Hyperstone Heist was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I mean, like I said, I didn't grow up with one, but when I finally got the game, I had a blast. I live streamed it and everything. It's pretty close. It's not like it was, you know, it was pretty close to Turtles in Time. It's just a little faster. It's a lot more faster.
Since we're looking at some footage of conventions here, talk a little bit about, you know, what conventions mean to you when you're able to meet up with so many of the people that you know in the YouTube scene and just, you know, see them in person and you're able to buy stuff from different stands and from a collecting standpoint. Talk a little bit about conventions.
I'll tell you one thing. I'm really, really disappointed that there were no conventions this year, because that is something I look forward to every single year. This is the first year in, I would say, 6 or 7 years that I have not been to one convention because everything got canceled. Too Many Games was supposed to happen in September, and that got canceled. So it's like, the one thing I look forward to with conventions is meeting up with everybody. It's really not about the collecting aspect, because I could do that anywhere. I could go online and collect if I want to. It's fun to look around, because not only are you going to find games, you're going to find other things that you may not see. But it really is about the people. I love meeting up with people, especially people that you talk to that you haven't met, you talk to on a daily basis. Like me and Megadan, we met through NES Addict, and he was actually the first YouTuber besides NES Addict that I've interacted with as a smaller aspect, not the game chasers. I already knew Billy and Jay. I already knew 8-Bit Eric because of conventions. But the smaller channels, Dan was the first person I met along with NES Addict at Southeast Game Exchange. And, you know, Dan lives in Illinois and I live in Pennsylvania. So we decided to drive and meet in South Carolina so we could meet Jay, because we're really good friends with him. And that's how it started. It started with that, where we're like, wow, that was amazing. Like, we talk all the time, every single day, and we finally meet face to face. And NES Addict is the one that really brought me into meeting, you know, everybody else, which was Die Hard. And, you know, eventually I met T-Belly through, I think it might have been Smash JT. I'm trying to think. And it just started from there. Linda Gamer Girl, I seen her comment on my video, so I decided to check her out. Well, we end up meeting up. She came to Too Many Games and met all of us. Megadan, Captain Algebra, Die Hard Gamer Bros, T-Belly, you know, anybody that knows that we're going to be at a convention and let us know they're going to be there, like 8-Bit Glitch, he showed up, and that's the first time I met him. It's such a wonderful feeling, because a lot of the times people are exactly how they are on video. If they seem like they're chill on video, they're chill in person. They're humble. They're fun. It's just amazing to meet these people. They're my best friends, and it's all because of YouTube. And that's why I love about the community. They're really, really good people. And then you meet the bigger channels like that you actually watch. You watch these people. So when you see them in person, it's fantastic. You can exchange, you know, sleeves. We got the dust sleeves, so we usually sign each other's dust sleeves. And it's just very exciting. We get together after the convention for dinner or for drinks, and it's just a lot of fun. And that's what I look forward to with these conventions. I've gone to Retro World in Connecticut. That's the first time I met Billy and Jay. Too Many Games, I go every year because I live in PA, so I'm not far from there. And Southeast Game Exchange is probably the furthest I've been, South Carolina. It's one of the best conventions I've attended. Austin puts on a good show. And then this year, all of us that I named in the Retro Crew, we were supposed to meet at MGC, Midwest Gaming Classic, in April. And, you know, that was going to be the first time that we met Do You Nerd, gaming off the grid. I mean, it was really, really disappointing. I met Rock Solid Productions. You know, he was going to be there, but I already met him at Southeast Game Exchange. And this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. Like, it's just so, you're looking forward to something like, man, I'm going to get to hang out with these guys. And everybody's just cool. And I'll give you an example. When we were in Southeast Game Exchange, We met up with Jay from the Game Chasers and Ethan Eric. We all hung out at you know, the bar, and it's like, you know, everybody treats each other like they're equals. Nobody's above anybody. Everybody is super nice, just having a good time, having a drink, and talking about pretty much anything, not just games, but anything. You know, there's no drama. I mean, it's fantastic. I never had a bad experience at a convention personally.
Right, and you know, it's funny you say that. You know, if they seem chill on the videos, they're chill in person, and I can vouch for that with us, me and Brady doing a show here. That everybody that we've had on for interviews has, if not been just as cool as they are in the videos, even cooler. So I can totally agree with you on that. And what's cool about what you're talking about when we're seeing all these pictures, and of you meeting with other content creators, is the bond, isn't it? The bond is that when you're all in the same place together, you can kind of bond over all the work and passion you put into the videos as a creative person, and you're with like-minded creative people that you have so much in common with.
Yes, it's weird because, you know, you're getting older, so you're kind of like, you know, nobody's gonna really get me anymore. And then here you meet all these people with the same similarities, you know, the same passion, the people that actually enjoy going to these things, you know what I mean, and just having a good time. That's what we do. We just want to have fun, you know, help each other out. You know, if like, let's say somebody sees a deal and they know I like it, and they'll tell me about it. Oh, come to this table. You know, it's just so much fun. And that's what it's all about. And then when we get to know each other, you start to know people's likes and dislikes in the gaming industry. And then, you know, maybe, you know, for example, Linda Gamer Girl, I know for a fact that she is a huge Power Rangers fan. And I end up sending her a game, you know, Power Rangers game, you know, things like that. That's what brings us together. You know, we help each other build these collections, as well as, you know, helping each other out with anything, you know what I mean? It's like, I talk to a lot of these people on a daily basis, on not just on social media, but on the phone, on Marco Polo, on Voxer. I mean, just so many different means in communication. And I see, like, right now, for example, Generation Gap Gaming, Tyler, he is freaking awesome. He is one of the sweetest people ever. Captain Retro, hilarious, just like in his videos. He is who he is. You know, just people like that. And that, Crystal, I'm going to meet you soon, girl. Whenever I get to Texas, like, my goal is to go to a convention everywhere at least one time. That's going to be my goal. So eventually I will get to Texas. Eventually I will get to California. First, because of COVID-19, I'd like to go next year back to MGC like original plan. And then eventually Game On in Arizona will probably be the next convention I head to. Now, whether, you know, some of the retro game community want to follow me there, that's fantastic. And usually they do. Like, usually, you know, Dan, Linda, like a whole bunch of people, T-Belly will be like, you know what, let's plan this. How about we all go to this convention and we try to travel together? And we have the last year. Within the last year, we all went to these conventions together. Me and Dan, it's been, I think, 2 years. Me and Dan have been friends for a long time.
Let's talk a little bit about the planning that goes into when you're doing a convention. Are you in contact with the person that's running the convention about getting a booth? Do you plan with your friends and people that you know that are other creators about getting the hotel rooms? And talk about a little bit about the planning for people that don't know that goes into a convention.
Absolutely. It depends on the convention as far as like people that run the convention. I know Justin, the AVGN crew, because I go to too many games all the time. So I don't really plan. They just know I go there. Right. Austin, we're good friends with Austin, who runs Southeast Game Exchange. We actually have communicated with him. He has given us media passes and, you know, allowed us to have panels and such and such. So we do planning with him. But as a community, like the friends, we actually make sure we stay at the same hotel. Absolute, all of us. I mean, on I would say Southeast Game Exchange. We all was it Southeast Game Exchange? No, it was too many games. We all stayed on the same floor. It was amazing. Then we all, got drunk in T Belly's room and then stumbled to our rooms in the same floor that night. So it was pretty cool. But we do try to make sure if there any reason one of us can't make that hotel, they'll be close by, close enough where we can meet up for breakfast or something.
How do they decide on who is the guest for like the panels and the live interviews and stuff? How do they decide that kind of stuff?
I guess everybody runs their convention differently, so I can't really speak for other people, including Austin. I really don't know why he decides to select the people that he does. He's such a humble person. I mean, the one thing I will say about Austin, I can't speak of everybody else. Austin don't care if you have 10 subscribers or you have, 100,000 subscribers. He doesn't care. He will, if he likes you and finds your channel interesting, remotely interesting, he will give you a panel. I've seen it myself. I've seen it where he had somebody with 200 subscribers have a panel. So what I like about Southeast Game Exchange is he, like I said, is a humble person. So he gives everybody that chance. You know what I mean? And that's what I like about Austin.
Isn't it funny too that when you think about it, how many of these conventions, the people running them are the people that are the YouTube content creators too? Isn't that it?
Yes.
It just shows how much work and passion goes into it. Because you got Jay from Game Chasers running the Retro Palooza. You had, like you said, Justin with the AVGN crew doing too many games.
Yep.
It's just another testament to the passion that the retro scene has for not only doing the channels but bringing people together at the conventions.
Yes, and that's what I like about it. If you could bring in guests of all different size subscribers, it doesn't matter, and then we bring us all together. You know what I mean? I really enjoy that aspect of it. I love meeting people. I'm a people person. So that's part of the reason why, slightly, I would say a reason why I started my channel. I just really enjoy the company of others. I enjoy, making people smile, and I enjoy talking to people. I really do.
Do you think anything's missing from the gaming scene today? We're talking about modern games. If you think about it, sometimes it feels like there's only a few categories of games that come out even, right? You got your first-person shooters, you got your racing games, you got some horror-themed games, and you got some RPGs. Now, granted, there's games in between, but I'm talking about the big major classifications. Do you feel like we've kind of gotten into this habit of just putting out a lot of the same basic ideas time and time again these days with modern gaming?
I never thought about it, but I can see why you would think that way. I mean, we have a lot of games that are, in the direction of horror. There's obviously the same exact sports titles every damn year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Call of Duties. I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from. I know there's some. This is where I kind of like the independent gaming. When you see games that are really, unheard of and people, don't really know about it, I really like to look into these games because there's a lot of games, especially on the Nintendo Switch, that I dabble into and I end up loving. And, no one's ever heard of it. Or, it's not a franchise yet. But eventually, if it's a hit, usually Limited Run will pick up on that really quick. And make a physical release for it. So games like that, I like, what's the word? I like games that aren't part of a franchise as well, I guess you could say, because Nintendo, back in the NES, there were games of all kinds. So it's really not like that today. I totally get where you're coming from with that. It's very different.
And it's like, I think if I had to pick one genre that maybe you don't see quite as much, because of 3D, you saw so many platformers back in the day, right?
I love
So many
platformers.
And that was kind of the magic about that period. And you see some kind of modern retro remakes, like modern retro games in today's, like Shovel Knight or something, where
Yep.
it's like it's a platformer with kind of a throwback, or you'll see like the Cuphead game, and it's kind of like a throwback. But yeah, that's kind of what I miss sometimes. And the Switch, you can get some platformers on the Switch, but it's kind of like it's not as in fashion as it used to be to play platformers. And I always loved those games so much.
Yeah, like Venture Kid. Nobody really knows about Venture Kid. I'm not 100% sure if it's on the PlayStation, but I know for a fact it's on the Nintendo Switch, and it kind of reminds me of like a Mega Man. It is freaking fantastic. It is a platformer game, and those are the type of games that I like. They're my favorite, actually. The issue with that I have personally with modern gaming, my number one issue with modern gaming is the amount of time that it takes to complete the game. It's not like you could pick up a game and play it and it's done in 2 hours. No, this game is 35 hours long. You know what I mean? And as an adult, who really has time to play a game that long? And in one sitting, you can't. You know what I mean? It's going to take you an hour here, or whatever, depending if you have a day off. If you even have the time. I definitely don't. I am extremely busy with many other things, so I try to stay away from story-driven games that are that long, and that's my issue with modern gaming. Plus, because of how long those games are, the amount of memory you need because of it is crazy. It's insane.
Right.
It's annoying. That's what the word is. So I do, as much as I like modern gaming, like I love Uncharted, I love the Ratchet and Clank, the God of War series. There's a lot of modern games that I am a huge fan of. But as far as like how it, like to me, like Red Dead Redemption 2, I have not played the second one because I heard how long it was. It turned me away. I guess I get turned off by how long a game could be.
And it's funny you're frustrated at that. The other thing that is frustrating, like that me and Brady agree on, is that it gets annoying is all the updates, the constant updates. It's kept us from playing games before on a stream. Like, yep. I'm talking like 100 gigabyte updates that seem like they're every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. You got to do one.
It's annoying, and it takes forever. Some of the updates take forever. Like, I have legit fallen asleep waiting for a game to update. When you pop it in, you can't play it right away. And that is another thing that I dislike. I mean, back in the day, you got a game, you pop it in, it's a wrap. That's it. You're going to play it. Now you better pop it in hours before you want to play it, because not only does it have to download, it's going to want to update. I mean, it's just, you better make sure you have memory too. Because if you don't have enough memory, it's not going to it's just so different. And it's probably because of the size of these games. It's incredible.
It is. How do you feel about the way like the PS5 looks, and how do you feel about just the next generation coming out like within the next year?
I'm excited for the PS5. I'm not sure about the Xbox Series X. Is that what it's called? I think.
Yeah.
I like Halo, so that if they come up with a Halo 6, I'd probably get it because I like this series that much. But PlayStation, I'm a huge fan of. I will be getting the 5. As far as the design, I do not like it. I will be honest. I personally like, I like systems that are either all black or, if they come out with like a red edition, that would be freaking fire. If it was red, I love red. Red's my favorite color. I like black, but the white with the black, I really wasn't too big on. I even would have preferred it all white, a solid color. That's just me personally. Everybody's different. I don't like the design of it. And I mean color. The design's not bad. I mean, to me, it's still more sexy than that tower as for the Xbox. I still find it more sexy. It is it's appealing. It's just the color. I think they could have chosen more, a sexier color, in my opinion.
It really does look like, like Xfinity's like router or something.
Doesn't it? Yes, exactly. That's the I think that's the perfect example right there. That's exactly the best comparison I heard. It looks like it definitely does. It looks like a wireless router. It does. You're absolutely right.
Now, do you have a modern gaming console that's like that you prefer the most? I mean, are you more Switch or PS4, or just kind of do you like to jump between them?
I probably would have to say I'm more Switch because I could take it on the go, and I'm always on the go.
Right.
But I really enjoy playing my PlayStation. Like right now, this is how behind I am on modern gaming right now. I am just playing Devil May Cry 5, and I love the Devil May Cry series. But I am so backed up with modern games as far as on the PlayStation. That's what I'm playing right now currently. So I do bounce back and forth, but I have more time for my Switch, if that makes any sense. I can't say that I love the Switch more. It's just more convenient. As much as I'm a Nintendo fan, it's more convenient for my liking. Now, if you were to talk to me about PlayStation 3, I favored my PlayStation 3 any day over, the Wii U or the Wii. Because at the time when PS3 came out, it was Wii and Xbox 360. Definitely favored the PS3 by far.
It's funny. I think why they nailed it, and this has been talked about by everybody and their mother probably, but I think the reason why the Switch kind of nailed it is because they were able to finally get close to the graphics looking current gen on the go. Where the PSP and all those handhelds in the Vita failed was they were always like the step behind graphically. They were always like last gen on the go. It's like Nintendo was able to current gen on the go. And I really think that's what made it, because they never sold well. If you look at the sales, the Vita and the PSP, they never really sold like they wanted them to.
Well, the PSP, I don't know about you, but when I tried to play the PSP, I actually got motion sickness. Something about the screen on there, the games, it made me nauseous. I swear on everything. I never felt like that with the 3DS, but I don't have the 3D mode on. I don't like 3D mode. I usually have it turned off. The Vita, I can't speak of. I mean, to me, it looked sexy when I seen T-Belly's Vita. I think it looks good. But I think the problem was they weren't coming out with enough games. You know what I mean?
Right.
What the Switch, what Nintendo did that was smart was that they allowed not only their game to go, but you could play it, as a console. You could play it on your TV. So if you're playing at home and you're not done, and you could take it with you. That to me was the smartest thing Nintendo did. Now, if you want to talk about online, Nintendo's definitely 10 steps back as comparison to, Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. They need to get their stuff together with the online aspect. I hate to say it because I'm a huge Nintendo Switch fan, but yeah, their online is terrible. Terrible.
Right.
You want to play. I played with Do You Nerd, Linda Gamer Girl, T-Belly, Diehard Gamer Bros, BKs. A bunch of us played Friday the 13th on the Switch. And you have to, it's just weird. Like when you talk to your friends, once the game starts, you can't hear them anymore. If you want to play Animal Crossing with them, you have to download that stupid app and then talk to them. We might as well call them on the phone because that's pretty much what you're doing. You're on the phone.
Right.
That's how behind it is. And then I'm disappointed that they don't have the virtual console. That's what I loved about the Wii and the Wii U, where you could download games like Super Nintendo, NES games and stuff like that. Here you can't do that. They give you the free app, but they limit games on there. So you're stuck with whatever they give you, and then it takes forever for new ones to release. You know what I mean? Instead of giving you the option to purchase these games. So it's just like a little like, and then there's lag in the online gaming. Me and Dan tried to play Mario 3 together. Online. We tried to meet up and play Mario 3. It was so bad. Him and I were dying in the first world because of the jumps. We were both. And Dan is excellent at games. And I'm pretty good at Mario games. We were dying so bad. We were just laughing. It was horrible. So it's like, yeah, they gotta improve that for the next gen. But I don't think you're gonna see a next gen for a while with Nintendo.
Right. And it's like what is it with Nintendo and that they can't get the inventories right? Like they can't meet the demand of the public with the numbers. Like they're sold out. I don't know, like you're talking about like how right now I know a lot of people looking for Switches. You can't find them. A lot of people. It is ridiculous. And then the problem with Nintendo is because they do that with Amiibos. They do that with everything. The NES Classic when it first came out, that was ridiculous. And then you have these, resellers that want to sell the game for 3 times the price. Scalpers. It's ridiculous because of Nintendo. I don't know. I'm not sure if they do that on purpose or, what their angle is with that. It's annoying, though. That I will say. So I totally agree that it's definitely Nintendo more than anybody else. I can't even remember another console being so unavailable since like the 360 came out.
Yeah.
Remember how hard it was to find one of those, or just it seemed like that's the last time I even remember about a console being so hard to get. And that we're talking 2020, and you can't get a Switch right now. I mean, luckily
I can't believe it.
I finally bought a Switch like before the pandemic kind of hit, so my timing was kind of good on that. But yeah, that's just a shame that so many people want one and are going to have to pay stupid reseller prices that are just unconscionable.
Yeah, I mean, if you're lucky, you could find a Switch Lite somewhere, but the actual Switch, definitely hard to find. The prices are outrageous. I mean, I know people looking, and my advice to them is just be patient. You're going to see them again. Do not pay $400, $500 for these things. It is not worth it. It will be back in stock. I really believe that the shortage has to do with COVID-19. I noticed that started right when things shut down. It started. I don't know if it's because, the warehouse shut down or what's going on, but I know like places like GameStop and Walmart, Target, they're not getting them. It's not them. It's Nintendo. They're just not shipping it to them. So I'm not sure if Nintendo's being affected or, if there's some kind of safety thing going on. I have no idea. But I know for a fact that has to do with the pandemic for sure. So I'm hoping that, I don't know. I would say this will be over in the winter, and I can't even say that. I have no idea when we'll have some kind of normalcy, but I'm hoping at least for Christmas, we'll start seeing more Switches.
I'm happy too. I waited till before the pandemic to get it because I believe, if I'm not wrong, it was like version 2 by then, so it had a little more battery life. They seem to kind of refine it a little bit in that second version of the Switch. That's basically the one that they're selling now.
Right.
So I was
they made it where the battery life is longer. It's definitely supposed to be better. I think they fixed the issue with the drifting, but I'm not 100%. I can't confirm that. I know I had an issue with my drifting, but I have as soon as the Switch came out, I had gotten one, and I already had to send the left controller back to Nintendo to fix. It was annoying. Like that's another thing that's kind of like driving me nuts about Nintendo. Like usually their controllers are pretty good, and that goes for every single one of them. This is the first time that they're having issues, and it's just a stupid the Joy-Con, and it goes for the Switch Lite too. People are having drifting issues on the Switch Lite. I use Pro controllers. That's to me the smartest thing to use, but I understand why people would have to use if you're playing in handheld mode, you're gonna need that obviously the left, side of the Joy-Con. And they just have a major drifting issue. So I'm hoping that the newer ones they fix. I heard they fixed the issue, but I'm not 100% sure.
Right. Yeah, it's unfortunate that they it took them a while to take care of that.
It did.
That's something that should be fixed in the product development stage. It should be before they launch the system, not after the fact.
Yeah, that I don't know. Like everybody, I think Linda Gamer Girl had an issue with hers. Dan had an issue. T-Belly is the one that gave me the information because he had to send his back. I had to send my back. I had to send my nephew's back. It's ridiculous. I was like, wow, everyone I know has issues with the Joy-Con. It's crazy. It should not be like that. So that's definitely a major flaw.
When you go to a convention, what's kind of on your do you go like with like a list of things that you're looking for, or is it kind of just in the back of your mind? Are you more looking for like collectibles and little figurines? Are you more looking for games? Like at this point, like say like last year's convention, like what was like on your mind that you wanted to pick up when you went in?
Last year's convention, I had no list. I just ran with it pretty much. And I have an app. Well, I honestly got a new phone and now I got to start over again. So I don't have that saved anymore, but I had an app that kept track of all the games I have. And if you don't do that, if you depending on how massive your collection is, you definitely run the risk of getting a game twice because you don't remember. And it has happened to me. So the smartest thing to do is get that app, and then more or less, unless there's something you really want, like if you're looking for, Neo Contra or something like that, there's a lot of people that like sometimes I even may have a game on my mind. Like Super Adventure Island, I was one of those games that I wanted, and I knew I wanted at least that. Last year was the Power Glove. I wanted a Power Glove. I knew I was not leaving without one, and got one for a good price. So it depends, but as far as like a lot, I usually wing it. I'll just walk around and whatever I like, I'll pick up if the price is good. And hacked games, I also like to collect hacked games. That's something that me and Mega Dan have a lot in common with. We usually, like if we go to a convention together, we'll look right at, if there's a table and there's hacked games there, you see us flock right there. They're just a lot of fun. It's like playing, a new game with your favorite franchise, like a new Mario game or something. It's pretty cool. It's a cool spin to them.
That's a topic I'd like to ask you about. So let's talk about NES. What are some hacked games that are so good? It's almost like playing it's almost like a true official release. What would be like maybe 3 to 5 hacked games on NES that you just have to play if you haven't tried them?
Oh man, on NES, definitely Mario 3 Mix. That is one of my favorite games. One of my favorite games of all time as far as hack games. It's like a sequel to Mario 3. And they made it a lot of fun. I would say The Legend of Zelda Outlands. So it looks like the original Zelda, but all new levels, which is cool. Because now you don't know where anything is. You don't even know how to get your sword. So you start off like, wow, this is crazy. So those two I could name off the top of my head. I think everything else I have is Super Nintendo as far as hacked. And I think I have one Genesis hack game. I don't have too many NES hack games. Oh, Dan got me Super Mario Brothers 2 hacked. It's the Christmas edition. So he knows Mario Brothers 2 is one of my favorite NES games. And he gave me at Southeast Game Exchange the Christmas edition. So what they did was they took the game and then they just changed up like the sprites a little bit where you're dressed like an elf and it's snowing in the level. It's pretty cool. They made like, little Christmas references in the game. And it was a lot of fun, just because it's different. So, yeah, there's quite a few. There's quite a few for each console. Super Nintendo especially. There's a lot of Super Mario World type games. There's Mega Mario World, which is fantastic. They remade Super Mario Land. They made Mario is Missing. There's an actual Mario's Missing hack. I played that, and it plays like a Mario World game. You would never think it has to do with the actual Mario's Missing game, thank God, because that game is boring, There's that's something that me and Dan, we did a video together on hack games because it's something that we talk about all the time. There's also Mario World Return of Dinosaur Land or something, and it's like a sequel to Mario World. So, yeah, those are some of my favorite hack games.
Which is cool because Super Mario World never really got a real sequel unless you want to call Yoshi's Island, but it was a different game.
To be honest with you, you're absolutely. I don't consider Yoshi's Island Mario World at all.
Right.
And I was so dumb as a kid. You don't know. I thought Mario's Missing was a sequel, so I thought it was going to play like Mario World. You could imagine how disappointed I was when I popped that in. I was almost in tears. I was so upset. And you can't return a game like that. That's it. You're stuck with it.
Right. The fun was definitely missing from that game. It's kind of like, don't even put Mario's name on that. It's kind of like it's disrespect.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's the cool thing about hack games. You get somebody that can come correct. They made this Mario's Missing, but it's Luigi playing like in a Super Mario World game, looking, trying to get his brother back. It's fantastic. That's how it should have been.
Right. And how about like Mario's Time Machine? Same thing. Like it's kind of like a what? What happened?
Yeah. After Mario's Missing, when I seen Mario's Time Machine, I stayed clear.
Exactly. I've seen a lot of your plush that Toys R Us one. That's got to be pretty rare, right?
Jeffrey Jeffrey the giraffe. I had that since I was a kid. I was a huge Toys R Us fan. My parents always took me there, so just that I still have him, yeah, that's very sentimental. Like that was very, very emotional for me to see that store go, but I guess it's part of life, It's not the first thing that's going to close on us because now, especially with the pandemic, there's going to be a lot of places shutting down.
Did you ever go to KB Toy Store back in the day?
Yes, I have. I did. Yeah, we had one in the mall. And, you know what, though? I didn't shop as much as I did at Toys R Us. So right. I really didn't have that nostalgia for KB Toys.
You know why I liked KB Toys? Because everything was kind of lower. Like, when you go into Toys R Us, like how you can't even really reach stuff when you're a little kid, when you're like 5 years old. Like, everything's like super high up. It's kind of this massive kind of factory feel in there. Whereas, like, KB, like, it still had the inventory was kind of crammed into just like a little form.
It's just like more personable.
I just like that you could reach everything when I was in a KB, as a kid at least,
Yeah. No, I remember going to look for Ninja Turtle toys, the figures. So a lot. You're right. Toys R Us was really extremely overwhelming. It's just a really huge store. But what I miss about it is back in the day, they used to display the video games, and if you wanted that game, you had to pick the card from underneath it and, take it to the desk, and then they go get your game. It was awesome. You just have to make sure you pick the right one. The one thing I did, I wanted the Rocketeer, and I got Rocket Man, and I didn't know it. And when I got home, instead of looking at the game, have you ever played the Rocket Man? It's terrible.
I've never even heard of that.
Oh my goodness. You might as well you're better off just getting a game about Elton John.
Right. Yeah. What do you do in the Rocket Man game?
Oh my God, it's bad. It's it's so boring. It's like a lot of reading, and then you have to like beat somebody up, and you're flying and shooting things, and it's terrible. I don't even know the point of it because I never beat it. It is so boring. It's that bad, and I still have it. It's Rocket Ranger. That's what it's called, Rocket Ranger. It is like, to me personally, I hated it, but I thought it was the Rocketeer. Total different game.
What are some other games you hate? I really hate Dash Galaxy. I don't know if you know that game, and I really hate Hide Lies on NES. Are there any you hate? Any games?
Hate. I mean, hate's a strong word, but I could tell you games I dislike. I hate Ghosts and Goblins. I can't stand that game. People go nuts when I say that, but I sincerely cannot stand it. I want to punch someone when I play it. It makes me that mad. But yet, it's not the franchise because I really enjoy, Super Ghouls and Ghosts. I have fun playing that. The NES version, no, not at all. Right. That game is broken. Captain Algebra and I definitely have a understanding of where we're coming from with Ghosts and Goblins. That game pisses me off. That's just straight up. Everything else doesn't bother me as much. I must say, like I said, what's up?
Have you ever played Dash Galaxy?
No, I have not.
Oh, God. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but if you ever get a chance, try it just for the badness. See what I'm talking about.
I might have to check that out because I don't even have that game.
You have a Pi, though, right? I think I saw it in a little NES case. I think you have a Pi.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
That's one to check out one day just to see how bad I'm talking about.
Yeah, I also have the NES Classic. T-Belly hacked it. So I have like all the NES games on there too. So I might have to pop that in and check it out.
Yeah. Just to see how weird it is. And it just doesn't even make any sense, the game.
Wow. Dash Galaxy. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check that out.
When you think about like, this resurgence that we've had, especially in the last 10 years, if you single out kind of like from 2010 to 2020, I'd say even more like kind of 2013 to 2020, when just things seem to kind of explode with the amount of YouTube content creators about retro gaming, just that overall increase to the hobby. What do you think about it? What do you think really caused it? Was it just getting back in touch with our childhoods? Was it just wanting some kind of escape from the current state of things in reality? What do you think it was that people were really searching for going back to these games?
I mean, I think that it started with AVGN. I think that, him being on YouTube and people watching that, and then, the Game Chasers, and I think it brought you back. And it's like, if you grew up in that era and you see them talk about these games or collect, you say, you're thinking, man, I didn't have that. Or I used to have that. That's a good idea. I need to do this. And I think that's how it started. I really do. I think people seen it and it brought them back, or they never had the opportunity, and like, like I said with the Genesis. And I think that's how it started. And then meeting people along the way, seriously, it's kind of addictive, believe it or not, collecting. But I like to collect, most of the time I like to collect what I like. I'm not trying to get a complete of anything. It's just a hobby, it makes me happy. It brings me back to my childhood. And I think that's what a lot of people, do. And you're still seeing it. You're still seeing new channels pop up, and I embrace it. When I see new channels, I try to promote them. I try to, retweet or something, and I watch it. And I enjoy watching a smaller channel just as much as a big channel. It does not make a difference to me. If you talk about something I like, I'm there.
Right. One of the things I like to do with these interviews too, I want people to walk away after listening to this, whether they're watching us live now or seeing it next week because they missed it. When this gets uploaded in full. One of the things I want to do is have people find out about things that they wouldn't know even by watching your channel if they've seen all your videos. So one of the things I want to ask you about is just movies in general, because we talked a little bit about, you being a fan of Fraggle Rock and stuff as a kid. Like what were the movies that affected your life growing up? What were the movies that still stay with you and you rewatch to this day?
Wow. I really enjoy watching, the Breakfast Club. I really enjoy watching Weird Science. Weird Science is one of my favorite movies. That's probably the geek in me. I thought it was awesome. The Goonies, definitely. The Sandlot. The Sandlot's one of my favorite movies. I'm also a baseball fan, so that probably has a lot to do with it. The Mighty Ducks is something I could watch over and over again. I mean, there's so many. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I really, really, really like that movie. I mean, it goes from Big Trouble in Little China, with Kurt Russell, Overboard, Short Circuit. I was a really big Short Circuit fan. I so wanted a Short Circuit video game. But, that would have been awesome. That would have made a good game. But, Three Men and a Baby, I just, so many different type of movies back in the day. The Money Pit with Tom Hanks. I mean, one of the guys, Karate Kid. I am huge on Cobra Kai right now. So that's because I love the original Karate Kid, the original two. The third one wasn't too bad. I can't say that. I did like the third one. But then after that, it was, lost my interest.
Right.
But, anything of any of those movies I could watch over and over again. National Lampoon Vacation. I definitely love comedy. So most of the time you'll notice I'm not very big on horror movies. I'm not big on horror games. I'm just not my thing. But I'm huge into comedy. Huge. I love comedy.
And all the John Hughes movies that you named, there's something about those that they have such heart to them, and they're always about characters in their teens that are connecting in some way or figuring out the world in some way. And I think about when you think about a Ferris Bueller's Day Off, it's like he was John Hughes is a director. It was kind of like he was saying that kids in high school are way smarter than people give them credit for. They see the world in a way that adults don't see it, and they have a enthusiasm for life and an energy that maybe adults kind of lose as they grow up. You know what I mean? Just that sense of wonder. And when they're going into the city, they're going into the museum. The dancing and singing to the Beatles song at the one part of the parade. That's what I love about those John Hughes movies. There's so much heart to those.
Yeah, and he picks perfect music for it too. The soundtracks are fantastic.
For sure.
I don't know. To me, that was perfection. Movies like that moved you in a different way than movies today, for sure. And just like the what were they called? The people, the same crowd played in The Breakfast Club, played in St. Elmo's Fire. They played in 16 Candles. It's the same. The Brat Pack, that's what they're called. Yeah. So that was pretty cool. You see them in different movies. The kid from St. Elmo's Fire was a mannequin. I mean, it was just movies like that to me were amazing. And it had a lot to do with not just the actors, but the music. And another franchise I really enjoyed, believe it or not, was Police Academy. That was hilarious for its time. I think it spawned what did they have? 7 movies? It was crazy.
Yeah, they had a ton of those movies.
They did. And they were fantastic. You don't really see, movies like that anymore.
Yeah, and it's like, you don't see movies really the John Hughes movies anymore. You had this kind of second wave that didn't have the kind of heart. Like the American Pie movies, they were okay, but it was more like kind of cringe, like sex humor.
Yep.
And I think they kind of lost something there. Like the John Hughes movies weren't like just like cheap sex humor. It was more like people connecting and people.
Right.
You know,
There was always some kind of
Breakfast
lesson in it. Yeah.
Right. When you watch like The Breakfast Club, I don't care who you were in high school, you can relate to every fucking character.
Exactly.
Because you know where each one came from and you get it.
Right.
And you didn't see that in kind of that second wave of like the American Pie, like sex movies, and you know, like they were okay, they were funny, but I don't think they had the heart. They didn't have the heart that those John Hughes movies had, and they're not as rewatchable.
And I feel the way you're talking, and I'm in the same page as you. I feel the same way with the music. It's just different.
Right.
It's a different, I guess, message, you know, behind it now. It's just totally different. So that's why, I mean, like, the 80s really was a great time. 80s, early 90s. You know, I was in high school, but I graduated in 99. So, yeah, definitely 90s, 80s and 90s was the best era. I had, like, a blast. Even with Nickelodeon. Nickelodeon back in the day was fantastic. They had awesome shows. Awesome. Remember, they had like Nick Arcade. You can't do that on television. I mean, I could go on and on. Double Dare. I used to watch all of that stuff, and it was just
like, they didn't have any duds in there in the programming.
Exactly. Like, I think people, I don't know. Back then, I guess you had to have an imagination versus now. Like, it's just very different. I mean, now it's like things are being remade, remake. You know what I mean? It doesn't have that uniqueness anymore.
And I think I was talking about it with in last night's interview a little bit. It's as good as computers are, they've kind of killed creativity because a lot of these TV networks are kind of phoning it in. It's all the computer generated animation. It looks super clean and sterile. It's like something that's been lost that we grew up with. It's not there anymore.
That's why I feel like horror movies back in the day were scarier. It's something about it. It's just because you had to use your imagination and be creative versus the stupid CGI. Like, yeah, to me, people will look at it and say, wow, that looks more realistic. Where me, I'm like, oh, I think it looks fake. You know what I mean? So I guess it depends on your perspective and how you grew up, where you notice things like that.